The cost of living crisis continues to be the biggest talking point in most homes in Australia. Inflation hit 7.8% in December, its highest level in 23 years. And meanwhile, the ALP's National Secretary has told caucus earlier this month that the cost of living issue must be the government's primary focus. There's even a parliamentary cost of living inquiry underway. Senator Dean Smith is on that committee. I'm delighted to say he joins me now. Senator, thank you for joining me on Bernardi. Everyone knows that prices are going up. So what's the committee hoping to achieve? What are your goals with it?
Well, Cory, it's great to be here and thanks very much for the invitation. Everyone understands how the cost of living pressures are affecting their households, affecting their businesses. The challenge now is to make sure that Jim Chalmers and Anthony Albanese understand that this is an issue top of mind for many, many Australian households. Unfortunately, the evidence is it's getting more and more serious. It's not getting easier for households. So one of the purposes of the inquiry, the parliamentary inquiry, is to bring the seriousness and the urgency of the matter to the attention of Jim Chalmers and Anthony Albanese.
Well, the ALP National Secretary did tell the caucus it should be their main priority and their main focus. What have the government actually done in order to address the cost of living crisis, which is gripping all of us?
Well, first point, I think it's quite a revelation that the Labor Party parliamentarians had to hear from the Labor Party National Secretary that cost of living pressures should be number one priority for the government. That sort of suggests that the ALP National Secretary was alluding to the fact that the government might have some alternative priorities. So I think in that revelation that we heard last week, I think it's a powerful demonstration that Labor parliamentarians are not close to their electorates. Labor parliamentarians are not hearing about the cost of living challenges that are impacting Australian households. So I think we would all agree that the matter is now top of mind for so many Australians, no matter where they might live across our country. We need to make it top of mind for the government.
Yeah, Senator, I've got to tell you, one thing that is top of mind for a lot of people is the government's broken promise on energy policy. Now they're trying to suggest that somehow the $275 muted saving is going to be baked into the system, but it looks like it's a broken system. Is the government going to be held to account? What can it do to reduce the cost of energy for people?
Well, we've seen since the election of the government, Labor sort of crab walking away from its commitment that it would reduce energy prices by $275. They've said it on no less than 97 occasions. So now we hear that they're sort of not mentioning it at all, trying to walk away from that commitment. We've also heard Labor talking about an energy relief plan, $1.5 billion of assistance for Australian families. We still don't know what that looks like. We don't know when we might see that. We actually don't know what might be the inflationary pressures of a plan like that. In addition to that, of course, the energy broken promise follows, I think, a more significant broken promise. And that was that Anthony Albanese and Jim Chalmers said at the last election, effectively, that life would be easier. Life would be easier for Australian households under Labor. As every day passes, it's looking harder and harder for Labor to be able to fulfil that election commitment. So these are worrying times for Australian households, and the challenge now is for Jim Chalmers and to Anthony Albanese to make this the top of mind issue. And in 9 weeks' time, we will see Labor's second budget, and we will see whether or not they have fully understood the magnitude of this issue, the crushing effect it is having on household budgets, and we'll get to see if any plan that Labor might bring forward.
Yeah, we'll watch that with interest. And I have to say, we were watching Senate estimates with interest. There was a lot of focus on a number of things, but some of the stuff that I discovered, the Governor-General apparently was not told about the redesign of the $5 note, where Prince Charles is not going to be on it and replace Her Majesty, or I should say the late Queen Elizabeth II. What's your comment on that?
Well, I think Australians, whether or not they're strong constitutionalists like ourselves, Cory, or whether they're even Republicans, Australians would have thought that at the minimum there would have been common courtesy extended to the new king. So it was revealed at Senate estimates at the Finance and Public Admin Committee, of which you've had a lot of experience. It was revealed that the government did not tell the Governor-General of its comfortableness with the monarch being removed from the $5 note. Indeed, the Governor-General's secretary revealed to the committee that he discovered it by way of media release. He took the initiative to exercise the courtesy and to alert Buckingham Palace. This is a gross error, gross lack of courtesy on behalf of the Prime Minister, and I hope that at the next series of estimates, the Governor-General's office will be able to say that the Prime Minister provided an apology to the King.
Yes, it's convention. We know how the Senate and the Parliament operates with convention. Same with the discussions around many of our notable office holders. This seems to be a very, very big breach. Senator Dean Smith, thank you so much for your time and joining me on Bernardi tonight. I really appreciate it and look forward to doing it again very, very soon.